Congresswoman Elise Stefanik is hopping mad because now that her nomination for UN ambassador has been pulled, and now that she has not yet been returned to the Intelligence Committee, where she was promised she would go back to after she was forced back to Congress, well, after everything has fallen through, she's now blaming someone for it. But it's not who you think it is. Let's discuss. I'm Dave Aronberg, former state attorney for Palm Beach County, a.k.a. the Florida LawMan, here on Legal AF, where we meet at the intersection of law, politics, and occasionally true crime. So first off, thank you for the subscriptions. Hit that subscribe button. You can see it there, or maybe it's there, or whatever it is. Hit that button. Now let's talk about Alise Stefanic. So she was elected to her congressional district in New York in a reddish district, but not a deep red district. She was elected as a moderate Republican, someone who is seen as somewhat of a bridge builder, not a bomb thrower. She became a bomb thrower. She became ultra MAGA. She became a Trump loyalist, and then got rewarded by Donald Trump. Rewarded as his nominee to be UN ambassador, a very prestigious position. And before she could live the dream, her nomination was withdrawn. And the reason why was because with the Trump and Republican numbers falling and Democrats starting to get their mojo back, and we had those special elections in Florida and other places, the Republicans worried that they were going to lose the House. They have a razor-thin majority as it is, and they worried that Elise Stefanik being in New York City for the UN ambassadorship position, then her seat could go Democratic, other seats could go Democratic, and there goes the majority. So they pulled her nomination, and as a good team player, a good soldier, she went back, didn't complain, because there is an old adage, remember. Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line. Well, Stefanic, being ultra MAGA, was not going to blame the boss, would she? Would she blame the person who nominated her and then withdrew her nomination? No. Now she's blaming someone. And it's not Donald Trump. It is Speaker Mike Johnson. What? Well, there's a reason for that. As I said at the opening, Elise Stefanik was put up there to a dream job, and then when she was brought back, she was promised things. She was promised she'd get her leadership position back. That took a while. She eventually did, but it took a while, longer than she thought. Blames Mike Johnson for that. And she wanted her position back on the prestigious Intelligence Committee. But Speaker Johnson has not been able to do that, because if you add her to the committee, you've got to take someone off. It's a zero-sum game on the Republican side, and so he hasn't been able to put her back on the committee. So she's not pleased with that. And she thought she'd be living in a multi-million-dollar penthouse apartment right now in Manhattan, and instead she's stuck here with all you meddling kids. Okay, Scooby-Doo reference. But according to Mediaite, which reports about a New York Times article, and kudos to Sarah Rumpf, the intrepid reporter for Mediaite, a fellow Floridian, it was widely reported that Representative Elise Stefanik, Republican from New York, was enthusiastic about serving as the UN ambassador to the United Nations. So when President Donald Trump pulled her nomination, it makes sense that she would be disappointed. But a new article by Annie Carney at the New York Times says the New York Congresswoman blamed Speaker Mike Johnson, not Trump, for her misfortune. What's ironic about it is that they pulled her nomination because they didn't want the Republicans to lose the House, but turns out that the Republicans won enough of those special elections, including the 2 seats in Florida, that they preserved their House majority. They didn't need her to leave her dream job. Oh, well, sorry, made a mistake. Although I must add that those 2 seats in Florida, the Republicans won in special elections. They won by a smaller majority, a smaller margin than people expected. But they're still in control of the House by a small number. And Stefanik came back and she said all the right things. But according to Carney's report, Stefanik was eagerly anticipating the, quote, fairly cushy job of ambassador to the UN, including perks like a $15 million Manhattan penthouse for residents. She had taken a farewell tour of her district, given up her House leadership position, packed up her congressional office, and waited for her hearing, expecting to sail through, in contrast to the bumpy ride for some other Trump nominees. So long, suckers, take this job and shove it. Now it's like, hey, I never wanted to leave you. I was always going to come back. Miss me? So good to be back with you. Instead, Stefanic was relegated back to the Rayburn House office building amid the peanuts, the styrofoam packing material littering the floor of her office. So as movers unpacked what had just been packed up a few weeks ago. Miss Stefanic's plight seemed to crystallize in one succinct cautionary tale: the limits of loyalty in the MAGA universe, wrote Carney. Even one of the president's most stalwart defenders, an effective ally since his first impeachment trial, ultimately did not get what she had long promised. So are you saying that loyalty in the MAGA world is a one-way street? Well, we've heard that before. We've also seen many intra-MAGA civil wars, and this one is a budding one. See, Mike Johnson needs Elise Stefanik because that raised with the majority, and then you have a few, the occasional dissonants like the Congressman Massey of Kentucky. They don't always stick with the party, so there's not a lot of room for departures. And Stefanic now is blaming Mike Johnson, and I'll get to why. As I mentioned earlier, she blames him for not moving quickly on getting her back to where she was when she left, but it's more than that. The Times described how her relationship with the speaker has completely disintegrated since her return, and observers worried the clash between the two could turn ugly in upcoming battles over the budget and items on Trump's agenda. Behind the scenes, Carney wrote, the relationship has collapsed. And so here's another point. You can see how contentious it's become, because when Jake Sherman put out a tweet that Speaker Johnson was talking to Stefanic about running for governor of New York, well, Stefanic replied just quite directly, saying, "This is not true," essentially calling Johnson a liar. "I have had no conversations with the speaker regarding the governor's race." And look, Jake Sherman quoted Speaker Mike Johnson saying he's having conversations, even put the words "having conversations" in quotes. So she's either calling Jake Sherman a liar or Mike Johnson a liar, or both. And I think it's door number 2 or 3, because Johnson and she are clearly at odds now. And according to the Mediaite article, contributing to the bitterness is Johnson's foot dragging in restoring Stefanic's leadership spot. She had given up her position as House GOP conference chair, the 4th highest ranked Republican, and had served on the Intelligence Committee. The speaker had promised to fix that for her in a 3-way call with the president after the collapse of her ambassador nomination. It ended up taking weeks to put Stefanic back in House leadership, and Johnson still hasn't figured out how to get her back on the Intelligence Committee, which would entail kicking out another Republican to keep the membership even, or soothe her frustrations by finding a spot on another committee that was meaningful to her. Sources close to Stefanic told the Times that she was always aware of the math problem of the GOP's narrow majority, but her senior aides now blame Mr. Johnson for avoiding a direct conversation with her about his concerns over the vote margin, and instead he quietly tried to delay her hearing and poison the well against her nomination, along with other secretive moves to slow walk it while saying he supported it. There is trouble in paradise. And she's not going to come out and blame dear leader. She's not going to blame Trump. I wonder how she feels privately. But she's a loyal soldier. She got rewarded, and then the reward was taken away. She's got to blame someone. And Mike Johnson, who hasn't put her back, made her whole. Nope, not yet. So she's turned on him. And now she's just another member of Congress, and she has a battle with the speaker, and she's not living in that beautiful $15 million penthouse apartment. That's a shame. Because when she got elected as a moderator, her constituents didn't expect her to become ultra MAGA. So she sold her soul, and for what? Well, we're talking about her, but she's not going to run for governor. She's not going to be UN ambassador. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good bargain for her. It's not something I would have chosen, but, hey, to each their own. I'm not in MAGA world. So that's the latest here on Legal AF, where we meet at the intersection of law, politics, and true crime. I'm Dave Aronberg, former state attorney for Palm Beach County, a.k.a. the Florida LawMan. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share with a friend, leave a comment below. Thank you for all your support, and I'll see you next time.
In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.